Okay, welcome back to another episode of Banking Without Borders. So Revolut is now a proper UK bank.
Welcome to my bank. Yes, Revolut is a bank.
And that matters because for years, the big question with Revolut wasn't whether or not the app was any good, because I think most of us agree that it is. The question was, would you actually trust Revolut as your main bank account? You know, the place where your salary lands, your direct debits come out, your savings exist. Basically the account that runs your financial life. Now, with FSCS protection coming into the picture, that conversation is changing incredibly quickly. And I think over the next few months, there is going to be a huge amount of marketing, a lot of hype, and a lot of people asking the same question: should I actually switch to Revolut? So in this episode, we want to look at what that actually means in practice. Can Revolut replace Barclays, HSBC, Monzo, Lloyds, Nationwide, Starling, Crew, Halifax, Chase, Zopa, whoever you currently use? And to answer that, we're going to put them through the ultimate stress test. We're going to rate their everyday app features, look at their travel perks, and discuss the pay to save trap with their interest rates, and see if their rewards program is worth it for the free account. But Jan, before we put Revolut under the microscope, I think we should outline what actually makes a good main bank account. And this is difficult, right? Because it's very subjective. Like, some people will desperately want cash deposits, while others care just about the best savings rates.
You have to be 100% sure that your salary stays available whenever you need it. So you don't want any unexplained freezes that are difficult to resolve. I think that's the absolute most important thing that a bank account needs to do. Then obviously you need to have the availability to handle the unsexy parts of life. Let's call them like that. Setting up direct debits, making sure your bills are being paid without any friction, and then ideally a good support. I think that would be also pretty useful. So in case something happens, I mean, it's rare that things happen nowadays, but they can. You can get your card cloned, you can lose your card, you can get locked out of your account. You want to make sure that whenever you have that problem, you can reach someone to solve the problem for you. Ideally, depending on your life goals, you need to make sure that the bank account can grow with your wealth. So ideally, if you get started, let's say with a savings account, and you decide later on you'd like to handle investments through your bank as well, your main bank. It would be beneficial if your bank already provided good conditions to do that. Not a deal breaker if it doesn't, but I think that's always really, really good to have. And then also if you're a frequent traveler, making sure that this card that you get from your bank can be used internationally without insane fees. You need to be able to absolutely trust your bank. It's literally holding your life savings potentially, right? Or your house deposit. And if you can't do that, it should not be your main bank account.
Yeah, I think immediately the FSCS protection enables a level of trust I think that people will gain, or Revolut will gain, I should say. It gives you £120,000 protection on deposits and $240K for joint accounts. So that's certainly going to give people some greater trust. From a fraud prevention perspective, Revolut are doing a great deal on trying to keep their customers' money safe, aren't they? I read in their 2025 report that a third of their employee base is now working on financial crime prevention, that is globally, but they're taking that very seriously. They've also, Jan, launched some pretty interesting features, one of them being street mode, which is like a really aggressive anti-theft feature. So if you're away from a trusted location, like your house or office, and you try to make a transfer over a set limit, the app will delay that transaction by an hour. And to release that transaction, you have to do a selfie. Now, some people might say, wow, that is possibly going too far. But I think at its core, it just reinforces how seriously Revolut are taking protecting their customers' deposits. Because I don't know about you, buddy, but I've certainly read things in the news. The news seems to target Revolut, if anything, about like scamming articles and stuff. And they're often referenced. And I think as a result of that, they're trying to do more to protect their customers. And I think they go a lot further than a lot of legacy banks do.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to feeling secure, feeling like your money is secure with Revolut, beyond making like a real fundamental error, I think it's quite difficult to be scammed or to be misled with Revolut. They even have like a verification, in-app calling verification thing on the Revolut app. So if you get a phone call from someone claiming to be from Revolut, you can check your app to see if that is legitimate. Monzo have this as well. And I think that's a nice feature as well. Support, Jan, you mentioned support. We know that Revolut don't have physical branches, right, buddy? So if something goes wrong, you can't drive or walk to the local Revolut branch and talk to someone.
Yeah, Revolut mainly uses their AI chatbots, which apparently can resolve up to over 75% of customer queries directly on their own, and that helped reduce resolution times by over 40%. That's what they claimed in the last annual report that just released. I think there are probably two sides to the story. On one hand, I appreciate that they help people solve simple questions fast. On the other hand, someone who has used AI chatbots for very different services, I find it very, very frustrating in many cases trying to get in touch with an actual human, because I'm someone, if it's a simple problem, rather try to solve it myself, and I only really use the support if it's a fundamental thing. If it's a fundamental thing that involves another human on their end in order to get resolved. Not sure if I'd be fully comfortable dealing mainly with AI chatbots, but that's subjective, right? That's not necessarily a disadvantage. I mean, I appreciate that exists, and they're probably one step ahead of current legacy banks, which will, undoubtedly launch that in the next couple of years as well. I mean, that's just how the industry is transforming.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable. It's going to get harder and harder to reach a human for support. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because Revolut really work hard to keep your account secure, but it is possible that you will be frozen from your account as a result of that security. It's happened to me previously when I tried to log in from like a foreign computer. I was abroad. Revolut, for some reason, froze my account. I had to take a photo with some numbers on a piece of paper to get it verified and unfrozen. Your account could be frozen, which is going to scare you, you're going to panic, and it might also be difficult then to speak to someone to get it resolved. I'm actually right now, Jan, as we talk, on Revolut support, trying to get through to a human. I started about 2 minutes ago. Everybody's listening. I'll update you as I progress, but I've currently requested to speak to a human. I want to talk about their Trustpilot quickly, Jan. If you're someone that takes Trustpilot scores, customer satisfaction scores seriously, their Trustpilot might be quite compelling for you. I looked at 10 providers, and for those that are watching this right now, I'll put it up on the screen. But Jan, Revolut, from these 10 providers, a mixture of legacy and digital, sit right at the top with a 4.7 from 377,000 reviews.
Does it mean that they're necessarily better than all these other legacy banks, which perform quite badly? I don't know, to be honest, because a good Trustpilot score typically just indicates that the company cares about it.
Yeah.
They're actively investing resources in trying to get their customers to leave reviews, and typically that happens once they've had some sort of, happy moment within the app, some success. Maybe they've received money. I don't know exactly how Revolut does that, but yeah, you ask typically happy customers to leave reviews. That's just what this is showing. On the other hand, it also shows that there are obviously not a majority of people that think negatively of Revolut, which is a good thing. But I would not say necessarily they're much, much better than NatWest, for example, which are on the bottom of the table. But we know for a fact that they have many, many very satisfied customers. We've had a few comments, or a few commenters recommending NatWest a few times. Yeah, it's just not a full story in my opinion.
Let's talk about everyday spending and everyday banking, Jan.
Many features, Johnny. We could literally have a whole episode just discussing features that Revolut provides. I think they're truly standing out in terms of features. Probably the best banking app on the market, in my opinion. So let's start. Let's start with one thing that I find pretty interesting if you consider making Revolut your main bank account, and that's the fact that you can connect other accounts for free to your Revolut account in order to see all of your balances within one master dashboard. That's something that Monzo provides, but you have to pay, I believe it's £3 for it. Many legacy banks don't offer this at all. Something I absolutely love is the fact that you can just set up free virtual cards within Revolut. And if you want to, you can also set up disposable cards, which I've done actually a few times. Typically when setting up, when taking advantage of free trials, right? Because I don't fully trust many services that actually cancel the subscription when I click on cancel. I've had a few times that it continue to run through, and having a disposable card with a low limit is great for that. Yeah. Joint and teens accounts. It's also something that can be interesting, not for everyone, of course. If you're living solo or you don't have a family at all, then this is not for you. But if you do, it's cool that Revolut provides it, in my opinion. You can share transaction histories, get matching cards, and also use budgeting tools, which I think are interlinked. Smart Pockets, Johnny, I think that's something you want to talk about probably.
I really like Smart Pockets, particularly from a budgeting perspective. This is where you can segregate or ring fence funds and then have bills, specific bills that you can select be withdrawn or debited from those pockets. And the salary sorter feature as well will essentially take your salary and can sort it into different pockets so they work really nicely together. I think that's super beneficial from an organization or a budgeting perspective, just making sure that you don't don't accidentally overspend one month or spend your bill money. Interlinked with the salary sorter feature is also something known as early pay. Revolut are actually able to foresee your salary coming into the account and pay you slightly earlier. Traditionally, Bacs payments can take 3 days to clear. Legacy banks usually hold the funds until the morning of your actual payday, but Revolut, they see it and they can pay you 1 working day early by essentially lending you that money.
I think all of this is incredibly useful, Johnny, but is that really a game changer when you look at making a bank account your main bank account? Probably not, but it's great to have that, right? It's something that many other banks don't provide.
Good question, yeah, and it falls back again to the subjective notion at the beginning of the episode whereby like some people, I think, Jan, are going to love that feature.
Oh, yeah.
Like the idea of cash access. Right.
Cash. Oof. Major disadvantage, right? We know for a fact that withdrawing money with Revolut standard is typically very, very limited. You have a £200 allowance per month or 5 free withdrawals. Sorry for that. They're now starting to roll out ATMs, Revolut branded ATMs. I've actually seen one. And apparently it's free to withdraw money from them. So that's maybe a step into the direction of solving this problem. However, there's one thing I would definitely criticize if I wanted to make Revolut my main bank account. You can't deposit any cash anymore within the UK, and you were able to do that. They charged a fee in the past, but they stopped this.
I wonder.
They discontinued cash deposits totally.
I wonder, Jan, if there are any other UK banks fully licensed that don't have cash deposits. I'd have to check Crew. Maybe someone in the comments can let us know. I'd have to check Crew, but I feel like as a result of this, I guess, license authorization, they need to reinitiate cash deposits. They were available. I think they discontinued in February. The fee structure was pretty awful. I think you had to go to a pay point and it was pretty expensive to deposit, but they need to do something.
Yeah.
They need to do something. Just a quick sidetrack here. I have been put through to support. I'll pop a screenshot on the video for those that are watching. It took 4 to 5 minutes to speak to a human on in-app support, Jan. So that's not too bad.
4 to 5 minutes. That's not a lot. I'd probably assume if you wanted to call HSBC or some other legacy bank, it would probably take much longer to be put through. But it's just my assumption. Obviously, if you're an HSBC user listening to this right now, feel free to comment if you've tried to reach the support. How long did it take? Or if you went to a branch and you tried to get your issue resolved there, how long did it take until it was your turn? I'd be curious about that, but I think 4 to 5 minutes is actually really good. Yeah. And is that to a human or to an AI?
I believe it's a human.
And you're on Revolut Standard, right, Johnny? You're on Revolut Standard. You're not paying for faster response times.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned the fact that you can actually pay to get priority in-app chat, and I'm using the standard one, so that possibly would have been even faster if I was with Plus, Premium, Metal and Ultra. And also we should mention, Jan, that Premium, Metal and Ultra do include in-app call support.
Should we talk about travel, Johnny?
Yes, let's get into this. This is a big one because traditionally Revolut were looked at. Fascinating. Traditionally Revolut were looked at as the go-to card, probably them and Wise, for international spending, particularly when legacy banks were charging heinous fees for it and they had awful exchange rates. But times have changed, buddy. Legacy banks are offering decent rates, and it's more now about which cards you should avoid rather than which cards you should choose.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But unfortunately, Revolut have slipped behind. You briefly mentioned ATM withdrawals being limited to £200 on the standard account or 5 withdrawals. Well, the same obviously applies internationally as well. So getting cash with this account internationally is somewhat limited. Then there's the exchange rates.
Exchange rates is actually, a whole other topic. So they don't apply the mid-market rate, they apply the Revolut rate, which it's okay. It could be worse. To be 100% fair, it could be worse, but it's definitely not close to the mid-market rate. In many cases, it's 0.25% to even more than 1% off, and I think that's just not good, and it's not competitive nowadays. I mean, when they first launched, they were probably one of the standout travel cards, and we can be thankful that Revolut transformed the whole UK banking market into becoming more friendly towards foreign transactions. But now it's kind of ironic that they're just a little bit behind the competitors, which have now picked up.
I think ultimately there's a lot going on in terms of fee structure for spending internationally with Revolut, like limited ATM withdrawals, weekend surcharges, a fair usage limit. This is for the free account. Whereas Starling's free bank account uses MasterCard's FX rates. You get £300 of ATM withdrawals per day. No fees. Simple. It's like that for First Direct. You know, it's like that for Zopa. It's somewhat like it for Chase UK, whereas Revolut's is a bit convoluted. Let's look at savings, buddy, which I think is going to be an important factor for a lot of people, particularly as we approach the new tax year here in the UK and the ISA limit refreshes.
I think what Revolut is offering here is okay, but it's less than ideal. So you get, with standard, you get 3% AER right now. And then there's a, can we call this paywall? I guess we can. So if you pay for premium plan, you know, one of Revolut's paid plan, you get a better interest rates, and that's 3.25% with premium, 3.51% with metal, and I believe with ultra it's 4%. Even 4%, Johnny, even 4%. Is not competitive nowadays, right? If you're looking for a dedicated savings account, there are better options out there. Have a look at depositscout.com.
Yeah, I've got it up in front of me right now. So Tembo have an easy access thing called the Home Saver, just for example. That's offering 4.75%, 0.68 on an ISA with Trading 212, 4.66 with Plum, 4.5 with Chase UK for new customers. They're asking you to pay for Ultra to get the top tier account, which is essentially saying, you know, you've got to pay to save. At a really good rate.
They're paying £55 per month in order to get 4% AER. I don't know.
I wish they had better rates, Jan. I wish they did. They had a 4.5% at the start of the year that was available to new users, unfortunately. So they're not afraid to offer them, and I think we will see a rollout of better rates from Revolut. The same for a rollout of loans, right? And credit cards and overdrafts.
Yeah, let's hope they apply low interest rates, right? And that'll be in the consumer's interest. So we've seen it. Yeah, I doubt it as well, but that'll be great. It's probably going to be the other way around, but it's another story. So they've, in many EU markets where they're already licensed as a bank in the past, they've launched things like credit cards, buy now, pay later products, personal loans, mortgages. And now that they have the UK banking license, I think it's only a matter of time until they launch these in the UK as well. I would even expect them to do so this year, to be 100% honest. Obviously, I don't know the future, and it's just a guess, but I think it's a good guess. Let's have a look at the end of this year and see if Revolut has launched one of these products. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, I don't think we can spend too much time on this section. There's not a huge amount to speak about in, you know, the context of the UK, but I think there's an inevitability of a lot of lending products in the future. Like Jan said, I'd be surprised if they did.
Which makes them more complete. That makes them more suitable to be your main bank account. So I think it's as soon as they launch them, you know, you can really look at Revolut as a complete product, as a complete banking product.
Yeah.
Because then you can get everything done, right? You can get a loan, you can get a credit card, you can get your debit card, you can go ahead and invest money, you can do many things.
Credit card will mean greater rewards on your spending. We've seen that in the European markets, like Ireland, for example, with Revolut Ultra customers earning 1.5 points per euro. And if you're not sure about what these points are, well, they are RevPoints. And we've got dedicated episodes on them. So if you'd like to learn more, we'll put some links in the description box below. Just to focus mainly, Jan, on the standard free account. I think that's where we should put most of our focus on RevPoints, because they're really not that rewarding, are they, for free users?
Ridiculous. They're ridiculous, Johnny. I think I've in last month I've collected something like 30 RevPoints probably, which is useless. 100% useless.
miles.
You get 1 point for every you get 1 point for every £10 that you spend. You know, no. There's no way this makes sense at all. I just ignore it, literally. And I don't believe I'll ever reach a significant amount of RevPoints in my account. Okay, I don't use Revolut as my main bank, but if they had a greater reward scheme on the standard account, I might. You know, I would probably do that. So it's for now, I'll just ignore it. It's unfortunate. If you pay for one of their better plans, you obviously get a higher rate in which you're receiving these rewards. I think that goes up to 1 point for every pound that you spent on Ultra. Then it can be worth it. Then it can make a lot of sense. Then it's a nice feature, but it's standard. Just ignore it. Just forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are Revolut shops where you can earn multipliers. There are opportunities to earn 20x for RevPoints, and that can be compelling, Jan. But again, I think it's important that you have a plan when it comes to being rewarded on your spending, and you want to pick something that's going to generate the most rewards. And RevPoints for the standard account just isn't that. It's not going to reward you as much as spending with the right American Express card or with, I don't know, for example, Santander Edge.
Trading 2-on-2.
Trading 2-on-2, perfect example. Yeah, perfect example. And like Jan said, the RevPoints, they only get better, like most of Revolut, in fact, apart from those sort of everyday, incredibly powerful banking features that they offer, but they get better as you scale up through the plans. We haven't talked that much, Jan, about the premium Metal Ultra plan because we're here today to talk about like banking. But yeah, if you can justify those plans and you see some benefit from the subscriptions that they offer you, then yeah, RevPoints could be lucrative for you. But unfortunately, no. For standard, it's probably not wise to look at standard for RevPoints. There are a couple of other things available that we should probably mention. I mean, just briefly, you've got phone plans in there as well if you'd like to have your banking and your phone plans together. £12.50 for a phone plan, Jan, is okay. Here in the UK, there are better options. I spend £8 on O2 and there's always better switch deals available, but that's there if you want it. Let's forget about phone plans. Let's forget about RevPoints for a moment. But at its core, Revolut are offering a pretty compelling sort of bank account in terms of like products, analytics, budgeting tools. Those exist, but it's not an all-round account, is it? Because we know that the travel isn't that suitable.
I disagree with this.
Well, you disagree and you think travel is okay?
I think, no. I think Revolut is an all-round account. And I think that's exactly what it is. Because they're somewhat good in every single segment you'd need to consider if you look to open up a bank account. But they're not standing out in any of either.
Okay.
So it's quite a good all-round option if you're okay with having a mediocre interest rate, not a bad one, but a mediocre one. If you're okay with spending a little bit on foreign exchange, not a lot, but a little bit. And if you're fine with not getting the best rewards, then Revolut Standard is a good account to switch to. I think that's exactly what Revolut is right now. Solid all-around account. Nothing that really makes them stand out besides the app and the great user experience. It's a good basis to start from, and then you can go ahead and maybe look at other cards for travel, for example, or other cards that provide better rewards, in order to really upgrade your banking stack and make this more complete.
I mean, some people will be listening to this, Jan, will be thinking, well, they haven't got cash deposits. They haven't got physical branches, so that's surely not all round good.
I say that's the minority. Nowadays, Johnny, we live in a digitalized world. When was the last time you went ahead and paid for something in cash?
Okay.
I'm saying this because ironically, I'm selling my phone at the moment, and tomorrow there will be a cash transaction happening, and I'll be receiving some cash, which I'd love to deposit with my bank. But that's, how often does that happen? I have had that phone for many years, so this is an exception.
Okay.
And I think I can live with just having the cash and just trying to spend it in the supermarket next time.
Okay, well, I think if anyone listening to this or watching this wants to come into the comments and let us know if cash deposits or physical branches are important to them, we'd love to hear from you. We've had a lot of feedback in the past from people that use Nationwide, for example, Jan, who actually find branch access to be incredibly important. And I think for some people, Revolut isn't going to be compelling. It's going to be a turnoff as a result of the lack of cash and branch access. But there's also a subset of people that will love the app and will think it's the most advanced thing they've ever used. Like if you go from Nationwide's app, for example, into Revolut's ecosystem, it is drastically better, the app at least, in the various features that are available. But again, Nationwide also offer things that Revolut don't offer.
I think that's pretty much everything that has to be said about whether Revolut should be a main bank account or not. I'd be curious, do you disagree with what we said here? Do you have do you share our opinion? Please write it into the comments and let us know what you think about it.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, as always. And Johnny, is there anything to add from your side?
No, but if you are feeling generous, give this video a like. If you're watching on YouTube, rate us 5 stars on Apple or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, that's how you support us.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.